The modernization of nations is built on knowledge, often inspired by the curiosity of learning. The necessity of knowing and sharing knowledge to build independent thinkers who will go forward to become scholarly in discovery and improve societies and reasoning were among the bases for the establishment of universities in the 9th and 10th centuries. Unlike the medieval times, the thirst for knowledge is higher and avenues abound, yet the legacy of old, which sees universities as the zenith of learning, remains. This belief, instituted by nations, has seen a huge demand for university education, outstretching both instructional facilities and faculty resources in a country like Nigeria, in a bid to meet the educational needs of the increasing population of students. These, coupled with the fallouts of long industrial actions by dissatisfied academic and non-academic staff unions, created the need for the creation of more universities across Nigeria. How well are these universities serving the educational needs of the population, and how worthy are their graduates in character and learning? We hope to find some answers to these questions as we investigate the rationale for university licensing in Nigeria. This is Dateline 360, and I am Omotala Omojola. Stay with us. So what does it take to set up a university? Christian Akande has been on this inquiry and reports that setting up a university is no small feat. Our inquisition shows rigorous procedures involving regulatory checks to ensure quality and sustainability. The National Universities Commission, NUC, plays a central role in this process. In our next piece, she walks us through the key steps involved in getting approval to establish a university in Nigeria, including the criteria, documentation, and final stages of government endorsement.
I want to assure you that Ebonyi State, under my leadership, will ensure that adequate budgetary provision in both capital and the recurrent expenditure are made available on a sustainable basis.
Recently, the National Universities Commission, NUC, approves the establishment of the Ebonyi State University of ICT, Science and Technology, marking a significant milestone. It becomes the first specialized university in Nigeria dedicated exclusively to information and communication technology. This development is one of several new approvals granted by the Commission, aimed at expanding access to higher education across the country.
For a university to be approved, the NUC considers a list that will be submitted by the people or by the applicant who proposes to establish a university. So first we look at how many professors are you bringing, how many departments first, which has to be with physical, so you have to identify how many departments, what is the curriculum, what is the content.
But the wave of approvals has sparked concerns among education stakeholders. At the heart of the debate, what are the criteria for licensing these universities? And more importantly, can they uphold quality standards and produce graduates who can compete globally?
Education is something you must work for. You must learn. You must prepare for it. You must argue it out and see that you have standard that goes across the world. Institution whereby you say you are a university lecturer, you are not known in the world, nobody knows you, you are not on Google Scholar, they cannot even count you to be anything. Some, even their PhD is questionable, their masters are questionable. Imagine a first degree teaching a first degrees.
Critics warn that the rapid pace of university approvals could outstrip the system's ability to provide adequate infrastructure, qualified personnel, and academic excellence.
In Nigeria university, we cannot just be approving universities anyhow. There must be criteria to follow, which I believe that governments need to do a lot so that we'll not just be graduating half-baked graduates.
One of the concerns with Nigeria, where we get approved universities and then these universities do not tend to meet the standard. I think it is when they have received an approval, most times we are not very maybe firm in terms of quality assuring. When NUC approves a university, in most cases, the university will meet at least the minimum standard required for the university to take off. But the problem that we've got is that once some universities get approval, they now start to open what they call satellite campuses. That is where the abuse is coming from.
According to NUC, a step-by-step process governs the approval and licensing of new universities. The process includes submission of a formal letter of intent, interviews with prospective proprietors, collection and submission of detailed application forms, presentation of relevant supporting documents, including academic briefs, feasibility studies, and master plans. Yet, questions persist. Are there routine or unscheduled monitoring visits to ensure compliance once approval is granted?
When the university is ready, it will invite the commission to go and look at the state of affairs, to look at the infrastructure, to look at the classrooms, look at the library, look at the staffing, and then after that, the commission will give the go-ahead for commencement of academic activities.
The challenge moving forward lies in balancing expansion with excellence, ensuring that access to higher education does not come at the expense of quality. According to the National Universities Commission, Nigeria has approximately 278 universities in Nigeria. However, efforts are underway to see that graduates are employable and contribute to the country's growth and development. Christiana Akonde for Dateline 360.
The continuous establishment of universities in Nigeria is geared towards revolutionizing the nation's tertiary education narrative, necessitated by the need to bridge the gap created by the inadequacy of higher institutions to satisfy the growing Nigerian population. Lekan Agbonde in this report takes a look at how universities in Ogun State, reputed to be the education capital of Nigeria, are adhering to standard procedures.
Available statistics reveal that Nigeria has about 274 universities with a mix of private, state, and federal ownerships, with Ogun State having the highest of 19 accredited universities, hence earning the reputation as the nation's education capital. However, most of the universities springing up are privately owned. Therefore, with the reputation and integrity of the approving institution, the National University Commission, there is no doubt that approved hybrid towers have met the appropriate criteria that include infrastructure that enhances quality teaching and learning, with special considerations for key professions.
Private universities are only bridging the gap in the sense that the federal and state are still consuming national budgets, but individuals across are making their contribution and they are doing extremely well. We know, of course, of Afeba Balola University, Covenant, Babcock, Crescent, Fountain, that through private funding are better funded than some of the federal and state universities, and parents are willing to put their money where they believe they will get a better quality education.
Stakeholders believe that the surge in the number of accredited universities notwithstanding, they are still not enough for a population of over 180 million people, out of which 62% of 24-year and below. A visit to some of the universities in Ogun State revealed that facilities are relatively up to standard, as most of them are privately owned and influenced by healthy competitiveness, and the provision of adequate facilities remains one of the basic criteria for approval.
When you use that kind of standard, those standards are above what operates abroad. For example, a university in London can just one two-story building, and that's a university. You can have a medical school that is two-story building, but their lectures are The lectures take place in the hospitals.
In terms of competitiveness, the private universities are also handicapped in terms of financial resources because they're all personal, maybe okay, not personal in terms of, but the churches are the owners of some of these, the ones I've mentioned apart from Afebabalola. The resources financial resources are restrained as well, and that limits the extent to which they can go.
Some of these universities are not unaware of the challenges, hence putting policies in place to address the challenges.
Nigerian universities, we need to look at our facilities. Our lecture rooms has to be modern in such a way that people from outside the country can also teach our students, and students outside the country can also be part of our teaching. Because the world is going global, and we cannot continue to do things the way we were doing it before. So we need to have a robust ICT that we can leverage and make sure that from whichever part of the world, we can reach out.
If you are even establishing new universities and you are providing funds, nobody will bother you. But the situation is such that we just create universities, we are not funding them. And how do we expect them to deliver? And that is why we conscientiously employ the government to go a step further, especially in terms of saying that, well, we establish more universities, we train more academic staff, we improve the welfare of staff.
The increase in the population of students seeking admission into universities, especially in private universities, is attributed to various factors, including the issues of dichotomy in university certificates and polytechnics and other colleges relating to career progression, incessant strike actions in public institutions, and more importantly, jam score syndrome. The indices are also of significant influence on the decisions of parents for their wards.
For example, here we have a lot of referrals. Parents who have sent their children here and who have excelled are thrilled by the kind of education that we offer and keep, propagating the gospel of Christian University, for example.
The effectiveness of teaching should be there such that the students we produce are globally competitive. I'm of the view that the universities in Nigeria are trying their best, and we have seen records of our graduates who also compete favorably with students from foreign countries.
The fact that Nigerian students and graduates who go abroad to further their studies are performing excellently well is an indication that Nigerian university system is not doing badly, and it has potentials to be at par, if not better, than other universities across the world. Stakeholders are echoing one message: proper funding and right policies are key to take Nigeria's university education to the next level. In Abeokuta, Lekan Agbonde for Dateline 360.
You're watching Dateline 360 on NTA. We take a short break now. Stay with us as we continue our inquisition into university education licensing in Nigeria.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
Now, university education fosters economic growth, reduces poverty, and boosts shared prosperity by equipping individuals with specialized skills and knowledge, leading to higher employability and earning potential. Tertiary education enhances societal well-being through increased civic participation, environmental consciousness, and healthier lifestyles. Stringent standards in setting up universities that meet educational expectations Here is Godfrey Nzekwe with the situation in Delta State.
For long now, Nigerian universities have been grappling with many challenges such as insecurity, poor remuneration, poor learning environment, poor materials and equipment for effective learning, among others. Proliferation of universities, some say, has not solved the increasing number of Nigerian population searching for universities to cater for their educational needs. What is the regulatory body doing to ensure compliance with academic standards, especially for all those professional courses?
What is the quality of education that are being offered by this university, especially the newly established universities? Are we just establishing universities because we want to increase the number? If that is the vision, then it is wrong, because that will mean producing half-baked graduates. And what that will also do is to stall development in the society, because 4 years, 5 years, and along the road, they'll chunk out these ones as graduates. So it has negative effect on both our society, the economy, and the polity.
If you look at the number of universities we have, it might not be able, it won't be able to cater for the university education that these youths are yearning for. Taking in terms of the courses offered by university, like some professional courses, not just only the National Universities Commission that is involved in maybe accrediting the programs of that university. You only have the professional bodies of those departments. For example, for the College of Medicine, you have the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. They are part of the accrediting team with the National Universities Commission. The regulatory bodies of some of these professional courses, like the nursing, you have the Nursery and Midwifery Council that equally regulates, and so to ensure that there's standard and not that these universities are just floated like that.
There is also this issue of discrimination between university, polytechnic, and other institutions of higher learning. Has this contributed to higher demand for university education?
I have never been a party to that dichotomy as an individual. Both degrees have their levels of operation. Those who are in BSc, BA are more academically oriented. Those who are in HND are more technically oriented. However, if this one had come out as an HND engineering grad, he knows, because theirs, I think, is more of 60-70% practical and about 30% theory. And these are the draftsmen, these are the toolsmen, these are people that go into the pipeline welders and all those stuff. And you now want to say, because one is HND and one is BSc, one should start on level 7, one should start on level 8. I think they should harmonize it so that they can allow both to run at the same time.
People can actually talk about the dichotomy. Government have always insisted. Government have also brought up laws to say, okay, there's no difference between HND and BSc. But I think in the public sector, you still have that existing. But until we come with a concrete law to say this must not exist, then we can break up that difference.
Experts are of the opinion that more funds should be projected to education, as no nation develops more than the level of its education. Godfrey Nzekwe for Dateline 360.
The hallmark of productivity is improvement in quantity and quality. Now, if one of these standards is sacrificed for the other, needed development may be compromised. Education correspondent Miriam George Jitubo looks at the proliferation of universities in Nigeria, questions education and qualification in terms of quality and quantity.
As of early 2024, Nigeria had 274 universities. This includes 149 private universities, 63 state universities, and 62 federal universities. Some of Nigeria's oldest universities are the University of Ibadan, the University of Nigeria, the Obafemi Awolowo University, and the University of Lagos. These four institutions were founded between the end of 1940s and the beginning of 1960s. According to University World News, the number of private universities has been increasing, with the National Universities Commission, NUC, considering applications for many new privately owned higher education institutions. Ordinarily, the increasing number of universities in Nigeria should be a source of excitement, especially in the education sector. But how has this increment been able to maintain the standard and quality of education in the country? And should university qualifications in Nigeria based on quality or quantity? Head, Learning and Development, Digital Bridge Institute, Chukwuemeka Nze, and an education analyst, Mikailu Ibrahim, give answers to this question.
The quality makes them relevant after school, and the quality helps to meet industry needs, where they will work, industry and business needs. So if you place quality side by side with quantity, it is essential that we will pick quality. But you must also not discountenance quantity, because quantity speaks of enrollment rate, access to tertiary education, availability of infrastructures to support the number of students you bring in. That's why you have tertiary institutions having carrying capacity. Significantly, government has done a lot to improve quantity by the establishment of more tertiary institutions in Nigeria at national and sub-national levels. So in the past few years, we've had several federal universities and other specialized federal institutions springing up, and also the same at state level. But as much as we want to pursue quantity, we must prioritize quality. Because when you don't prioritize quality, you are bringing out from our institutions people that will not meet the need of industry. You have people talking about unqualified graduates. Those speaks of issues and gaps in the quality of education.
Oh, definitely, quality should be a priority, because education should be pursued based on its purpose and function, and without quality, those cannot be achieved. So when you pursue quality, what it means is that you are guaranteeing employability, you are guaranteeing skills development, you are guaranteeing meeting industry standards. So these are the parameters for determining. But of all of them, if you will ask me, I would say actually quality should rank higher than any. Because if you provide access, quantity without quality, or you ensure equity without quality, then you are just wasting the time of students, resources, and of course any other person investing in the sector.
Respondents are of the view that an increment in number means increased competition and increased choices, which should lead to better standards. However, the situation with Nigerian universities seems not to support this axiom. As the numbers of universities in the country increases, the standards seem to decrease. It is an ironic situation where competition does not seem to drive quality standards.
We have seen several universities that have sprung up, and I've also heard information of several others that are about to be built. But it's not about how many people you are bringing out from the school, but what is the quality. The quality of education should be paramount.
Quality is important for us. Quantity cannot drive what we want. Quality. There are other nations with smaller populations and they are giants. So it means it's not the function of quantity, it's a function of quality. How qualified are we? How genuine is our skills? So what we see all over the nation is a reflection of the quality of our education, not the quantity of our education.
Quality.
Why quality?
Because in the sense of quality is that quality brings results, but quantity lavishes. Because you have it many, but they are not useful, so it will lavish.
So if you can get a quality education, the country will grow well, and our children will be proud of them. No need of taking them to another country to go and school again. You have a quality education in Nigeria. So any children can school in Nigeria here and you get what you want.
However, there is a general consensus that what Nigeria needs are thinkers and an educational system that prioritizes the development of high-quality technological human resources aimed at creating a national pool of skilled and self-sufficient craftsmen, technicians, and technologists in technical and vocational fields. Mariam George, Jitubo, reporting for Dateline 360.
That has been Dateline 360 for today. Join us next week as we examine another thought-provoking issue. My name is Amotola Omojola, and on behalf of the production crew, I thank you for your time. May God bless Nigeria.